All right, let's talk about your identity when you become an immigrant, especially when you move to Spain and you speak a different language. And I'm just going to tell you about the story of our son, Carter, aka Taryn. His name is Taryn Carter Burton. We've always called him by his second name, Carter, because that's what we wanted to call him. When we got to Spain on his first day of school, in middle school, he got to school and they said, "What's your name?" And he said, "Me llamo Carter," with a Texas accent. And they said, "Carl." "Carol? Carol? Carol? No, you're a boy. You can't be named Carol." They tried all different names. There was no context for the name Carter. So he tried to explain. And then he said, "Well, let's try my first name. Well, I'm also called Taryn." And they said, "Terry." And he hence became known as Terry. Terry. And it stuck. And as he got older, he more and more kind of took that as part of his identity, wanted to be called that. And then he moved back to Texas for work and just started introducing himself to everyone as Taryn. And it's wild, right? So, he's still our kid. He's still our son. But it is interesting how your identity changes when you become an immigrant, especially in a land where the accent is vastly different or the language is completely different. Something we never would have considered is that we would move and our kid might change their name from the simple fact that people didn't quite understand his accent or they didn't have a context for the name Carter for a boy, okay? And he became Terry. He wasn't even Taryn. He was Terry because the way we pronounce an N is not really heard, Taryn. And it's not, I guess it just didn't quite fit with the pronunciation in Castellano from his accent. So the kids at school didn't quite, the name that they had context for was Terry. So isn't that just mind-blowing? And I'm jealous because he has a name that kind of fits, Terry. I'm Jack. They call me Yak. Everywhere I've been in the Latin-speaking world, I'm Yak. So I'm jealous of people named Matt, who get to be Mateo, like my brother, or Taryn, who became Terry, which is close to his name. No, but I kid. So just a kind of an eye-opening thing for how your identity is tied to certain things like your name or the way you speak. It's not something we would have thought of at the time. It's not something we did think of. And when he came home and said, "Well, everybody's calling me Terry," it kind of blew our minds. And then when it just changed his name, that's who expected that? So, let's be real. This is just one of the challenges of being an immigrant, being an expat. You're going to come up against every day for a while, new things that challenge, the dream of what you came to do and push against it. And some days it's hard. You come home with a headache from trying to learn Castellano and from trying to cope with different aspects of life that in your home country are easy and normal and the people around you understand. And then something happens here and you go, "Oh, okay, that's totally different for me." And I have to maybe change something about the way that I interact with people, about who I am. Depends on how deep it goes, how crucial that thing in your identity is. And man, I can tell you 1,000 stories like this where just things that are normal identity things. I like to think of myself as a funny person. It took 7 months before I made anyone laugh in Spanish. 7 months. And I remember the exact moment and the person when I attempted a joke in Castellano and made a guy laugh. And it was beautiful. And it really made, 7 months. It makes me cry just thinking about it right now. So, word to the wise, things to consider. You're gonna have to have a thick skin. And just be flexible. Keep your mind open. You're just gonna have to keep your mind open for things that might happen when you make your move.